gravitate. I'm feeling like winning, they spitting the venom, but I got the power, I ain't afraid. I ain't afraid, I'm in your face. Forget tomorrow, man, I'm here today. Won't settle for good, man, I'm shooting for great. And remember my name when I'm in the grave. Yeah, all in, not pretending. Hall of Fame in with the veterans. I ain't playing weak, no, I'm playing for keeps. Can't stop me, I'm a legend. I run with the crew that's making the moves. Get out of the way, we coming through. We got this, never stopping, and we won't lose. No, we can't lose. Yeah.
The following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature. Program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you know it. I know it. The truer words have never been said. It does not matter who the host is. What matters is who the listeners are. Anyways, how are you? I hope everything is good and grand inside of your neck of the woods. Anyways, today is Thursday, June the 15th of 2023. Day, let's see, what day is it? It's 166th of the year and only 199 days left to go. We are broadcasting live. Yes, I did say live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Radio Big.
Radio Big.
You know, the multiverse is Safety FM. We just hang out with those other people at Radio Big, but I like to say it backwards from time to time to see if anybody will catch on and see if anybody will be in communicado with me about going, you said it backwards, and going, okay, cool. I know that you're paying that kind of attention now. But then if they don't say anything, then I kind of wonder, well, is anybody truly paying attention? Is anybody listening? Anyways, how are you? Like, seriously, how are you? Are you having fun? I mean, has it been a fun week for you? I always get kind of weirded out when I feel like people are not having fun. Because I go, hold on. So what's the purpose of the week? Like, I always get weirded out when people go, oh my God, I'm so excited that tomorrow's Friday. So on Sunday, were you saying it was that you were excited that tomorrow was going to be Monday or on Sunday or whatever the hell? I mean, I just get weird. I get weird about stuff. Anyways, my youngest daughter has requested that I reference today popcorn ice cream. And the only reason she asked me to do that is because she's sick. And I guess at some point her mother's going to show her a part of this show, which I wouldn't recommend for any children to be watching this. But hey, it is what it is. So popcorn ice cream. I hope you get to feeling better relatively quick there. Just a little FYI action. Anyway, so let's start talking about some of the things that are going on inside of the world. If you're not familiar with what we do here, we talk about safety in the news and safety, because that's kind of how the show goes. And then we do all kinds of weird things where we bring in people from the outside world to tell us about what the hell's going on. And then we bring in the professional broadcasters who do all their giggos in regards of what is going on as well. That way you can have some funny in regards to that, because if you weren't having fun by doing that, what the hell would we be doing? I mean, that's something to think about. That's for sure. So with that being said, what do you think? What do you think we should do? Oh yeah, we should probably talk about how the hell you can communicate with us. It's real easy to do. All you do is go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. That's how you'll get incommunicado with us and get everything moving and grooving. If you do the social medias, you can do that as well. It's perfectly fine. Just a little bit more difficult to get a hold of people in that particular regard. So just giving you the information as it's going in real time. Anyway, so with that being said, why don't we start talking right away about the things that were trending
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so taking a look-see around about what's on tap and what was trending today. Russian soldier surrenders to Ukrainian military drone, and an unappreciated family man teaches a lesson. If you haven't heard that story, that one's weird. We'll talk about that. And also, Kevin Costner wants the courts to remove his estranged wife from his home. And Jennifer Aniston is still open to finding love. How did we get that one in there? Jay Leno and Adam Carolla are hosting a 4-day event and for aspiring comedians this fall. We'll talk about that as we get into it. And then Caitlyn Jenner and O.J. Simpson share their thoughts on Donald Trump's legal woes. We'll talk about that. And then we'll talk about some things that are going on inside of the world of safety. And also talking about the event that's taking place in September, because I think we need to start talking about it. Maybe we should talk about it now, because I normally talk about it towards the end. But let's talk about it now. Do you know about the Conklin Conference that's coming up in September? September the 27th through the 29th. Jen Long, Bob Edwards, Mark Yest, and of course Todd Conklin and I will be there hosting the event for you to come and hang out with us in good old Orlando, Florida, if you would so desire to do so. All you have to do is just go to safetyfm.io to find out more information. Yeah, that's safetyfm.io to find out some more info. Yeah, some infographics there. In regards of what the hell's going on. So there you go, some information for that. Anyways, with that being said, why don't we do this? Why don't we bring in the broadcasters of broadcasters, the people that will let you know exactly what the hell's going on inside of the world of the news. So let's go ahead and do that. Ahora.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Michael Kastner. There's new reporting former President Trump rejected a possible settlement with the DOJ to avoid an indictment in his classified documents case. More from Mark Mayfield.
The Washington Post reported Wednesday that one of Trump's attorneys wanted to quietly negotiate a deal in the case, as he felt Attorney General Merrick Garland might consider taking an exit ramp to avoid the prosecution of a former president. Trump was not interested after hearing more advice from other attorneys who suggested fighting prosecution instead. Trump has been indicted on multiple charges for allegedly mishandling classified documents at his Mar-a-Lago resort and evading government attempts to retrieve them.
A record high number of Americans say they think first trimester abortion should be legal. A new Gallup poll says 69% of U.S. adults believe abortion care should be available in the first trimester. Support for the access during the second and third trimesters also reached all-time highs at 37% and 22%, respectively. Veterans suffering from PTSD would have access to experimental drug treatments under a bill being pushed by Congressman Dan Crenshaw.
We're never going to understand the extent to which psychedelics can help our service members until we start actually doing the necessary clinical trials in a controlled environment.
The Texas Republican is a veteran serving as a Navy SEAL in Afghanistan. His bill would create a $75 million federal grant program to support research in both magic mushrooms and MDMA, which is also known as ecstasy. The man accused in a chokehold death on a New York subway is being indicted by a grand jury. Daniel Penny was indicted Wednesday. Lisa G. reports.
News 4 New York is reporting that Penny was indicted on a second-degree manslaughter charge in the death of Jordan Neely. Penny was initially arrested on manslaughter charges in connection to Neely's death last month. The Marine is accused of using a deadly chokehold on Neely, who had mental health challenges after Neely was allegedly threatening riders.
Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in the UK, I'm John Beaver. Former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson has been found guilty of repeated contempts of Parliament for deliberately misleading the House of Commons over the Partygate scandal. More than 150,000 people have been evacuated from coastal areas of India and Pakistan ahead of Cyclone Biparjoy making landfall. And Japan's Self-Defense Force has launched an investigation after a trainee shot and killed 2 others at a shooting range.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
New York City is sending asylum seekers to other cities as part of its decompression strategy. More from Natalie Migliori.
New York City's Housing Preservation Commissioner Adolfo Carrion says roughly 1% of new arrivals have been sent to other parts of the state, including White Plains and Albany.
Where New York City is paying for a number of services at no expense to the local counties or cities.
Carrion says it's just too much for New York City.
We believe other counties and cities must also do their part.
Some local officials, like those on Long Island, have resisted accepting new arrivals. Carrion's echoing calls for action on the federal level.
Italy is marking the death of former Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi in a state funeral in Milan. In Rome, Giles Gibson says after making a fortune in real estate and broadcasting, Berlusconi became prime minister in the mid-1990s but was dogged by sex and corruption scandals.
Flags are flying at half-mast across the country as Italy's president and prime minister attend the state funeral. A national day of mourning has also been declared. Berlusconi died in hospital on Monday, having spent 45 days in the same hospital earlier this year, which was when his doctors revealed he'd been diagnosed with leukemia. He left behind a political party that's part of the governing coalition and now needs a new leader. Giles Gibson, Rome.
A popular television host could take the reins of a decades-long TV game show after its legendary host retires. More from Trey Thomas.
Ryan Seacrest could be the next host of... On Wednesday, TMZ reported Seacrest is being considered to take the reins after Pat Sajak steps down, although discussions are still in the early stages. Seacrest was the original host of American Idol and also co-hosted Live with Kelly and Ryan for 6 years.
Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have any body to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
Have you ever wanted to start live streaming and were not sure how to do it? You can start live streaming up to 40 social media platforms all at one time for as little as nada. It's going to cost you your time. That is what it's going to cost. You can pre-record, you can live stream, you can do a multitude of things. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to safetyfm.com/one. That's safetyfm.com, ONE.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, so there you go. Currently, let's see, what is 15 minutes past the top of the hour. I almost said 16, even though it was only 3 seconds off. So there you go. 15 minutes past the top of the hour. So let's get into all the stuff that we get to do, because if not, we would be getting into the stuff that somebody else gets to do, and that could just be a whole awkward scenario, and I don't think we want to do that. Let's not make it too awkward this morning as we are talking. So getting into the shit list right away, let's get into it. Remember during the Gulf War, Iraq soldiers surrendered to American news. Iraqi soldiers surrendered to American news camera crews. Well, call this the 21st century version of surrender. The Wall Street Journal gives a detailed report of shell-shocked Russian soldiers getting the attention of the Ukrainian surveillance drone, trying to express their desire to surrender. His efforts were streamed back to the military base a few miles away, and eventually the Ukrainians decided to take mercy. They filed a ration packet and attached a message, "Surrender, follow the drone," and the soldier did. Now he shared his whole story with the Journal as the Russian moral wands. The hotline set up for the Russian interested in defecting has gotten more than 17,000 calls. Yes, that's 17,000 calls. This is according to the Wall Street Journal, so keep that in mind as we are talking. Meanwhile, a Russian-language news site reports that officials in the Kremlin have taken to starting their vodka habit earlier in the day, with many putting away a whole glass of booze in the start of their day. One source says that for some, the glass has just turned into a bottle. Is that a bad thing? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm just asking. And it gets worse. Even officials from the government functions, it's common for the partition to have 2 bottles each of vodka. So there you go, champagne or wine. So maybe we're just looking at this all the wrong way. I don't know. Maybe what are you thinking? We could probably start this whole thing totally different as we are going through the whole aspect of it. What do you think?
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
Yep. So let's continue talking about some other things that are going on. Anyways, a study by LinkedIn and Duolingo suggests that millennials and Gen Z employees don't understand common office jargon, and true to form, it makes them feel less involved. Some commonly misunderstood words and phrases include EOD, end of day, just so you know, move the needle, have an effect, and wordsmith, someone who writes well. The most annoying jargony phrases, according to the study, was blue sky thinking, which is brainstorming, and yes, it's annoying, and allowing hanging fruit easiest opportunity. Among young workers, 20% believe that they don't take it offline, means to have separate discussions because the whole group doesn't need to hear about it right now. Got it? So Kiter or whatever your name is. So this was according to the Register. Let me tell you something. I try to avoid jargonism or jargons as we are talking about stuff, because let's just kind of keep it real, and taking it offline and all this other stuff. You want to make sure that people are feeling like they're all involved in regards of what's going on. And when you start doing some of the horse shit of jargons and pie in the sky and all that other stuff that people are going to get turned off by, all you're going to do is separate them away. What jargon do you not like in regard to it? I will tell you, the thing that drives me the most wild is when you start having people using terms that don't make sense to anything that's going on in a conversation. That one kind of gets me, but whatever. It is what it is. If that's the worst thing that happens all day, guess what? We're still having a great day.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, yikes. A former manager that oversaw cadavers used by students at the Harvard Medical School has been indicted on federal charges of selling human body parts over the last 5 years. The charge accuses a 55-year-old manager and his wife of stealing heads, brains, skins, and bones and sending the remains to buyers by the mail. Others allegedly stopped by the morgue for their orders. 3 of their buyers are included in the charges. At least $100,000 changed hands over the years for the remains. This is according to the Associated Press. What do you think about this? I mean, I know that people get into some freaky stuff, but geez, man, that gets a little weird here. And this is connected to the previous story as reported about a woman who worked in Arkansas mortuary where she was reportedly stealing body parts from cadavers that were supposed to be cremated. She listed the stolen body parts on Facebook Marketplace where a Pennsylvania man by the name of Jeremy Pauley bought them. Pauley then sold the stolen remains to others, including Matthew Lampy, who was indicted along with the former manager from Harvard. Listen, I know that the next thing I'm going to say is not the nicest thing, but this is what I say. There is a market for everything. And I think that kind of proves my point.
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
Anyways, Bud Light has been dethroned by Modelo Especial as the top-selling beer in the U.S. Consulting firm Bump William reports that last month. Well, Modelo represents more than 8% of retail store sales, while Bud Light is just above 7%. So just so you know, the drop of sale coincides with the controversy of Bud Light teaming up with transgender influencers, Dylan Mulvaney, according to this report. What do you think? Do you think that played in a factor? Do you think that by them doing that, meaning Bud Light, that had this large impact on them? It kind of gets kind of weird sometimes in regards on how some people look at certain things. So did this change your beer drinking habits? Because Bud Light was partnering with Dylan Mulvaney, excuse me. I said that wrong. So I'm just asking. I just think sometimes things get strange. Yes, at the end of the day, you will tell a company if you like what they're doing with your dollar. This is kind of the way that it goes. That has never changed. It's just something to think about. So there you go. Ever feel so unappreciated by your family and friends that you contemplate faking your own death just to make them realize how much you mean to them? Well, that's exactly what one man did in Belgium. David Barton, with the help of his wife and kids, faked his own death only to show up to his funeral. The funeral was attended by dozens of mourning friends and family members who were shocked when prior to the service, a helicopter landed nearby on the out stepped Burton with a camera crew. "Cheers to you all. Welcome to my funeral," he told the crowd. Reactions were mixed of relief, confusion, anger in Barton's returns from his dead, which led to explain why he orchestrated it. "I want to give them a life lesson and show them that you shouldn't wait until someone is dead to meet with them." I mean, I get it. I always get very confused by this. And let me explain what I'm going to say. You know how people go online when somebody passes away and, "I appreciate you, rest in peace, you've had such an important impact on my life, good, bad, or indifferent," but you wait until the moment that the person has passed away, opposed to telling them prior to what they meant. And listen, I know that we all have limited time in regards of what time we have available throughout the days, and even in a lifetime, depending on how you want to look at it. But think about that. What if you told people how you felt as life was going on, opposed to waiting and not telling them at all? Interesting one, right? Something to think about. At least I would think it's something to think about. How do you look at it? So there you go. Some stuff to go through. No doubt about it. So anyways, with that being said, let's bring some John Smalls into our life and let him tell us about what the hell is going on with the Market Beat.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Thursday, June 15th, brought to you by GenesisGoldIRA.com. Equity markets did an about-face Wednesday, rising in early trading, then falling after the FOMC announced more interest rate hikes were coming. The FOMC paused in June, holding rates steady, but indicated inflation was not tamed and that 2 more should be expected. The news sent the odds of the CME's FedWatch tool rocketing higher, indicating a significant outlook shift. The takeaway is that interest rate cuts should not be expected in 2023 without significant decline in inflation. Action in the S&P 500 was mixed. The index moved up, down, and sideways during the session. The implications for stocks are negative. Rising rates are cutting into demand, which is capping the outlook for earnings. The market closed with a small gain for the day, signifying significant uncertainty. The market may move higher from here, but it is climbing a wall of worry and headed toward a ceiling put in place by the Fed. You can get the inside track at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, John Smalls, for the information on letting us know what exactly is going on inside of the worldo, because we need to know these things. There is no doubt about that as we are talking. Anyways, with that being said, let me tell you a little bit of what I was able to I would say allocate, but that's incorrect, but I would just say it just to be a jackass. But let me tell you a little bit about the stuff that I was able to find. It goes something like this. The Dow lost about 232 points to close at 33,979 on Wednesday. The S&P lost, it didn't lose. It just added about 3 points to close at 4,372, while the NASDAQ added about 53 points to close at 13,626. West Texas Intermediate closed at $68 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $73 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.59 yesterday. Bitcoin fell further on Wednesday, losing about 3%, trading just around 25,100. Now, sit back, relax as I say this next thing. There was more than 5,200 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Wednesday, and more than 320 such cancellations as heavy storms pounded the southern states. So just so you know, Mega Million, Friday night's Mega Million drawing will be for $281 million jackpot or $145.2 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, you still got the opportunity to do so. Seriously, there is no doubt about it as we are talking. Anyways, let's talk about some other new stuff that is going on. Port and dock workers on the West Coast have a tentative agreement on a new labor deal. Daniel Martindale reports.
The International Longshore and Warehouse Union's Coast Longshore Division, which represents thousands of dock workers, announced the agreement on Wednesday night. Their new contract with the Pacific Maritime Association, which represents dozens of terminal operators and ocean carriers, is for 6 years. The two sides had been in negotiation since May of 2022. The tensions came to a head earlier this month with work disruptions at the ports of Los Angeles, Long Beach, Oakland, and others. I'm Daniel Martindale.
Okay, thank you, Daniel Martindale, for the information. So that's great news for the dock workers on things that are going on, so keep that in mind. 9 teenagers are behind bars in connections with 2 gang-related attacks in Thousand Oaks. Take a listen to this. That's California, just in case.
The boys are all Thousand Oaks residents between the ages of 14 and 17. Both attacks involved rival gang members being beaten before their shoes were stolen. At least one of the victims had a knife held to his neck. The suspects were all arrested Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm Daniel Martindale.
Okay, thank you, Daniel, for that information right there on what exactly is going on. Because, hey, we want to know about that. Take a listen to this one coming out of Brooklyn, New York. A man is claiming self-defense in a stabbing death of a passenger reportedly harassing subway riders in Brooklyn. Scott Pringle has more info.
Witnesses say a fight broke out on the J train approaching the Marcy Avenue and Broadway stop in Williamsburg Tuesday night, ending with a man stabbed to death. Jordan Williams of Queens was arrested and charged with manslaughter, but he says he was trying to defend himself. Witnesses tell police the man who was stabbed was harassing people, acting unruly, and appeared to be drunk. There's a report he went after Williams' girlfriend. Detectives are sifting through video of the deadly encounter. Scott Pringle, NBC News Radio, New York.
Okay, thank you, Scott Pringle, for the information right there on what is going on. The Marine vet seen on video using a deadly subway chokehold in New York City is now indicted by the Manhattan grand jury. Scott Pringle has more.
Details of the indictment not yet revealed, but reports indicate it's second-degree manslaughter, the charge that Daniel Penny was arrested on. Now, Penny says he used the deadly chokehold on Jordan Neely back on May 1st to protect subway riders and himself.
The three main threats that he repeated over and over was, I'm going to kill you, I'm prepared to go to jail for life, and I'm willing to die.
But Neely's family attorney accuses Penny of acting with indifference, saying he didn't care about Jordan Neely and that Neely did not attack anyone. Scott Pringle, NBC News Radio, New York.
It will be interesting to see how that one moves forward and what type of video they have in regards of what was going on. So keep that in mind. Anyways, take a listen to this. Many Colorado Springs homeowners are dealing with flood repairs because of the record-breaking rainfall. John Parcha, a homeowner in the Flying House neighborhood, says that he's already spent $40,000 to clean up and ensure proper drainage in his backyard.
I'd like them to put in a proper drainage system and move on with my life. I've got a second baby coming in July, and I'm tired of dealing with this every day.
Parcha is in a disagreement with Classic Homes, the company that developed the neighborhood. Joe Lodelt, the president of the home development, believes that the flood damage could have been prevented with proper landscaping. According to the company, homeowners have 6 months from moving into their own into doing their own landscaping. Another homeowner in the area has concerns of making the 6-month deadline with the amount of water damage. Lloyd says that the majority of homeowners with water damage have neighbors without professional landscaping, so keep that in mind. Flying Horse homeowners Dennis Daughtry says that he's worried about the 6-month deadline because of the current water damage.
I haven't been able to get anything done because it's too wet. And as you can see, it's a mess, and I can't keep up with it.
Yeah, the president of the home development says that they're still trying to help homeowners in the area, even though it's their responsibility.
We've actually paid to have a landscaper go in and help clean up some of the yards, even though it's not our obligation to do so.
Okay, so there you go. A lot of stuff going on right there. Let's do one more. Officials in Davenport, Iowa are signing off on financial assistance for those affected by the partial collapse of the apartment building in the downtown area. Hernan Gutierrez has more.
The Davenport City Council approved using $600,000 in COVID relief funds for an aid package for those impacted by the partial collapse of the downtown apartment building. It passed in an 8-0 vote.
So there you go. Some aid coming in. Let's squeeze one more real quick. Texas is cracking down on the deadly opioid fentanyl by increasing criminal penalties for drug dealers. Trey Thomas has more.
Governor Greg Abbott signed the bill Wednesday. He says they want drug dealers to be scared to sell fentanyl.
Any person who causes a death by unlawfully manufacturing or delivering fentanyl can be prosecuted for murder in the state of Texas.
Abbott also signed a bill that gets more Narcan to schools and colleges. The drug can be quickly applied to prevent an overdose death. I'm Trey Thomas.
Okay, thank you, Trey Thomas. It'll be interesting to see what the outcome ends up being on that one. There is no doubt about it. Anyways, 32 minutes past the top of the hour, and you know what we're going to have to do, because if I don't do it, somebody else will come in and do it. Not really, but let's do it anyways.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, main story time, because we are 32 past the top of the hour. So let's talk about this, because I think that sometimes we tend to forget. And, you know, if we were just on traditional radio, on testicular radio, like I like to talk about it, even though it's terrestrial radio, we would probably play Flavor of the Week right now by American Hi-Fi, just for the sake of doing so. And I want to talk about this because, listen, you work in an organization. I have worked at organizations, or maybe you have worked in an organization and you were not out on your own. And I want to talk about just some weird stuff that happens. I want to talk about some weird things that occur. When things change within an org, most people go, that's a Flavor of the Week thing. When things happen inside of an organization that something different is going on, that won't last long. I mean, you've heard it time and time again. Oh, you're the new flavor. You're the new thing that we're testing, but we'll go back to our old ways. And if you hung out with me recently, we were doing the what are we calling it now? Safety FM with Jay Allen. That would be the show that I'm doing now on Tuesdays and Fridays. Well, really just Tuesdays. podcast version for the most part. And we were talking about going back to the foundation and the fundamentals of stuff on how we see things. And I want to touch base on some of that today, because I think that we have a small issue on when we are trying to go through change, opposed to looking at it as flavor of the week. What if we were looking at really real change? Because here's where things sometimes get confusing. You know that you got to where you're at for one reason, because you implemented certain things to get there, right? I mean, does that make sense to you? You did these things to get to where you are today. So you got there because you did X, Y, and Z. I really want to focus on that. So at no point is you're applying new principles, and in this case, we'll be talking about the HOP principles, would I ask anyone to throw out everything that they did to that point? Because you might consider me silly by asking you to do that. So as you consider doing some of this stuff, I would ask you the following. Would you give consideration doing what you did, but changing your mind on how it was done? Think about that for a moment. I am not asking you to give up everything. I am asking you to take a different approach mentally. And I think sometimes this is where a lot of confusion comes for most organizations as they attempt to go down this path. It's not the forget everything. I will call it the bolt on. I mean, if anything, you're pretty much changing a good sequence there inside of your organization, but also at the same time, you have to look at it and go, these changes that you're doing are the things that are going to change the organization overall. So it's that mental shift that the org has to take. It's that mental shift of everything moving forward. If those things don't get put in, things will not shift within the organization. If you don't look at it as we are changing everything because on how our mental model was, it's going to be hard. And you go, well, hold on, an organization doesn't have a mental model. That's why we talk about safety differently and thinking differently. That's the whole crucial part there. And I think sometimes, if not most of the times, when you start the journey, that's where a lot of the stuff gets lost at the very beginning. Think about that.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back. Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, The Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
What do guys like besides pizza and morning sex?
Jay Allen in the morning.
It's so bizarre and unnatural.
It's all good. On Radio Big.
Energy, walking on lightning, I better be running on 10, go till it ends, you don't wanna be one of my enemies, I'm cooking, I turn up the heat and everyone looking, they turning to see all the work that I put in, but I'm moving too fast so they losing their footing, I run with the crew that's making the moves, get out of the way, we coming through, we got this, never stopping, and we won't lose, no we can't lose.
Okay, here we go. 43 minutes past the top of the hour. This still is the Jay Allen of the Morning Show. Hour number 1 referred to as the Rated R Safety Show. Oh, yes. This right here. Are you ready? Yeah, this one's a little bit about going there from Beacon of Light. You know, letting us know what exactly is going on. So there you go. That's what we're doing. We're doing all the fun stuff. I love when we get to play new music here, no doubt about it. So thanks to Beacon of Light for allowing us to play this. If you want to take a listen to it, no problem whatsoever. You can give it a little streamer-eamer action. All you have to do is go to YouTube Music, Apple Music, or Spotify, and you can take a little listen to it. I'm still hung up that we need to do a whole episode of just music here on the Rated R Safety Show. when then people will be like, but it's not safety. It's not safety. I know. I get it. Anyways, with that being said, let's continue talking about some things that are going on inside of the multiverse, not necessarily the multiplex. Anyways, talking about the multiplex before I forget, Flash comes out today. If you want to relive those nostalgic moments of, seeing Michael Keaton in the Batman suit, you can start doing that today. I'm kind of torn on what I'm going to do on that one. I want to go see it, but I don't think I'm going to have time today. Maybe tomorrow. Who knows? Who knows? Anyways, let's talk. Let's talk about the most important thing that I'm going to tell you. So let's talk about it right now. And that's about my friends at TWLOHA.com. That's to write love on her arms. And they're all about trying to help people find help. Seriously, that's what they do. They help people find help. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected with help. They want to help you know that people have been where you are now. Things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. It's all the way on the far right-hand side of their website. It will get you connected with help. Listen, we all go through struggles sometime, and we don't know where to go. That is the resource to look at. I found this company many years ago, and I shouldn't even call it a company because it's an organization. I'm trying to think about this. I was at a concert by Switchfoot. That's how long ago it was. And I was in West Palm Beach, and I remember they came out and started talking about what their messaging was. And I want to say, how you have those moments in life where it was that it's love at first sight. It was love at the first hearing on what the hell they were trying to support. And I'm trying to think about this. This concert had to be, 2004, 2005. So it's been some time, but yeah, been in love with them since then. To write love on her arms. So just a little information right there. TWLOHA.com. Click on the section that says Find Help. Great resources, all kinds of good stuff on their website once you get there. People need people. Think about it. That's why you see me wearing their stuff all the time. If you're on the video streamer, or if you see me at a non-speaking event, you will see me more than likely rocking something that belongs to Write on Love on Her Arms. Anything from bracelets to T-shirts, just because I think that messaging is so important. Anyways, with that being said, let's continue talking about some things that are going on inside of the world. And let's talk about selling a cell phone ban. Yeah, take a listen to this. Some schools in Canada are experimenting with cell phone bans. As you can imagine, some students and their parents have problems with it. While Ontario is the only province with an active ban on cell phones in the classroom, some schools across the country are implementing rules that require students to lock up their phones at the beginning of the day or keep them turned off during lessons. Educators who are against the ban say that phones can be included in teaching, and others say that phones are an important link between school and home, especially for those students that have risk of violence. Chaltech Secondary School in BC banned mobile phones 6 months ago, and according to Counselor Tulani Pierce, the outcome was remarkable. Quote, we are seeing improved mental health, and we're seeing decreased bullying. We're seeing more engagement in class, and we're seeing more social interaction. Pierce also noticed that kids also are playing again, and we're seeing increased academic success. But no one has addressed the most important issue. If a kid's phone is locked up and they forget their lunch, how do they try to get mom or dad to bring them something to school? That's something to think about. And they have to lock up their phones. I guess someone took the word cell phone literally. I mean, but think about this for a second. And I think it really plays a big, interesting issue depending on age demo. Do you think that phones should be banned? Because there's not a lot of things that I can't do on a computer that I do on a cell phone, with the exception of making a phone call, and that's debatable too. So just think about that. What do you think? I mean, kind of a lot of weird stuff when you think about it.
Always replicated, but never duplicated. Rated R. Safety Show.
Okay, so let's talk about Did You Know? A California-based startup is in a mission to manufacture pharmaceutical drugs in space. Varda Space Industry argues that medicine may be better produced in microgravity. Manufacturing pharmaceuticals in microgravity builds on the experiment carried out at the International Space Station. If the firm is successful, analysts say that some of this work may lead to changes in the drugs that people on Earth take today. I can't imagine shipping costs, by the way. Varda launches its first mission on Monday aboard the SpaceX rocket. Oh yeah, my hippie uncle claims that that has out of this world drugs as far back in the 60s. So there you go. I mean, what comes to mind right away, let's talk about this. If you have a company that was making pizzas and was having a hard time keeping the cheese on the pizza as they were making it as the vehicle drove to get to the destination, and they ended up just going under, how is this going to work for a pharmaceutical company trying to get all the stuff mixed in together for the drugs to work? And seriously, how are you going to get it from point A to point B? I mean, now we're talking rockets back and forth. Listen, I'm all into tech, don't get me wrong, but I want to have a better understanding on how some of this shit's going to work. I mean, how would you not want to have a better understanding on how some of this is going to work? There is no doubt about that. I mean, think about it for a moment. Just how weird of the world is this going to get? Anyways, with that being said, let's bring some John Smalls into our life for him to tell us about what the hell's going on with the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Cole. Marcus Aurelius said, "The opinion of 10,000 men is of no value if none of them know anything about the subject." I love that quote. It's so very true. We recently helped my mother sell her home. When we were getting the house painted and ready to go, my wife and my sisters planned the color scheme. My brothers and I, we just kind of did what we were told. If they were to ask me or either of them our opinion, everything probably would have been white. But my opinion and their opinion doesn't really matter. My wife is an excellent designer, and my sisters were awesome at helping to pull it all together. I just stayed in my own lane and did what I was told. It worked well. The place looks great, and it's sold in one day. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlysaMorgan.com. When it comes to healthy aging, there is something that is crucially important to understand. One of the reasons people fall and break hips at an older age is because they don't have foot speed, meaning if they stub their toe on a corner or slip, they have to have the foot speed to be able to put the other foot in front of the other in proper position quickly. Then they have to use eccentric strength to stop that fall from happening. And that is why a workout routine has to incorporate exercises aimed at increasing both muscle power and speed. Many people shy away from exercises that utilize heavy weights, plyometrics, and explosive power, but that's exactly the type of workout that's going to keep you away from fragility and ensure healthy longevity. For more information on wellness, check out AlysaMorgan.com.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, entertainment is always a value that we would love to bring to you if you look at it from that direction. If it's not a value, then hey, what the hell's going on? That is for sure. We're doing definitely something wrong. So keep that in mind as we are talking. Anyways, with that being said, let's talk real quick. Should I talk about this real quick? Let's do this one. Irvine-based Taco Bell is being fined thousands of dollars for violating California's gift card law. Take a listen to this from Daniel Martindale.
Following a lawsuit initially filed in Ventura County, the fast food chain must pay $85,500 for not letting customers cash out gift cards valued at less than $10. California allows people to exchange gift cards with a remaining balance of less than $10 for cash. A joint complaint was filed by the district attorney's offices of Ventura, Los Angeles, and Sonoma County. counties. I'm Daniel Martindale.
Okay, thank you, Daniel Martindale. I didn't even know that was an option there in Cali, so there you go. That's something to think about for sure. Take a listen to this. A woman is under arrest after allegedly stabbing a mother who was pushing her toddler in a stroller in Brooklyn. Scott Pringle reports.
The unprovoked attack happened at Jay and Tillery Streets in downtown Brooklyn Monday afternoon. Police say a woman approached a mother and threatened to harm her 3-year-old, and that's when the mother stepped between her toddler and the stranger. The stranger then whipped out a knife and plunged it into her chest multiple times before taking off. The woman was arrested Wednesday and charged with attempted murder. The mother is expected to recover. Scott Pringle, NBC News Radio, New York.
Okay, thank you, Scott Pringle, for the information right there on what is going on that one. Take a listen to this. President Biden is set to announce today that Ticketmaster and Live Nation have pledged to tell U.S. consumer the full price of concert tickets up front. Take a listen.
Now you switching up your behavior. It's okay, baby. You ain't gotta worry. Karma never gets lazy.
There's been pressure on the major entertainment companies to reduce sky-high ticket fees. Biden's announcement is expected to include a pledge from Live Nation that starting in September, all tickets sold through Ticketmaster will show one clear total price. Ticketmaster has also made the same pledge. I'm Michael Kastner.
Hold on. They made a pledge? So this is... I solemnly swear that I will never blah. I mean, come on. How far is that really going to take anything? I'm just asking the question because it's a weird one. It's a weird one. Like, seriously. I mean, think about it. I mean, who's going to buy that? Like, they've had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. You know what I'm saying?
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, take a listen to this. San Diego has made the annual beach bum list. Bree Tennis reports.
Heal the Bay has released their 33rd annual Beach Bummer report card, giving letter grades to the state's best and worst beaches. The list is based on levels of fecal bacteria reported by health agencies. In that report, San Diego has 1 bad but 14 good. The beach near Tijuana Rivermouth ranked as the 6th most polluted beach in the state, but it was an easy A for the beach near Point Loma Lighthouse, which reported immaculate water quality. Also on the good list, beaches in Del Mar, Carlsbad, Oceanside, Point Loma, Sunset Cliffs, and La Jolla. I'm Bree Tennis, NBC News Radio.
Okay, thank you, Bree Tennis, for the information right there. I mean, talk about fecal matter in regards of what we're talking about, in regards of what's happening out there. Yeah, it's going to make you kind of question some things about life. There is no doubt about it. Anyways, if you're looking at some things that happened back on this date, let's take a look at it. Let's see. Steve Hawkins' ashes are intended, hold on. Steve Hawkins' ashes are interred into the Westheimer Abbey, London, between the remains of Isaac Newton and Charles Darwin. This happened back in 2018. Think about that as we are talking. Let's talk about some birthdays that are going on today. Bally Baby turns 26. Cooper Krupp turns 30. Parker McCollum, 31. Bailey, the wrestler, turns 34. Neil Patrick Harris turns 50. Leah Remini turns 53. Ice Cube, 54. Courtney Cox turns 59. Helen Hunt turns 60. And those are the birthdays that I have going on today. If you're looking at some reasons of the year to celebrate, I have some of those for you. It's Magna Carta Day, Nature Photography Day, National Smile Power Day, National Lobster Day, National Dump the Pump Day, Beer Day Britain, and World Elderly Abuse Awareness Day. So there you go, some things that you can celebrate or at least bring awareness to if you're so inclined to do so for today. If you're looking for a random joke for today, I have one of those. My saving grace is humor. If I fail, at least no one's laughing at me. You get it? Okay, what else? If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What's a little known but awesome thing about your town or city? So many things to talk about in that one. If you need a question for the water cooler, try this. Question. When people were asked what they do to unwind at night, the number one answer was read. But interestingly, 4% of people said they do this to unwind. What is it? Clean their house. I'm pretty sure number 2 could have probably not been listed. Probably 2 and 3 couldn't be listed. maybe 2, 3, and 4. Maybe we have a long conversation ahead in regards to talking about that. Maybe that's the way to look at it. Anyways, thanks for hanging out on this lovely Thursday. I really do appreciate it. At the top of the hour, I'll be going over exclusively to Radio Big for the next couple hours or so if you want to hang out over there. If you want to stay on Safety FM, you're more than welcome on doing that, as Sheldon Primus will be telling you about the business of safety consulting. Thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener, because without you, we couldn't do what we do around here. Anyways, if I can leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. It is never too late to be what you might have been. Think about that today. It'll take you places you may want to go to be. I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
Can't stop me, I'm a legend. I run with the crew that's making the moves. Get out of the way, we coming through. We got this, never stop.